time entry for negative duration employees. Negative duration time entry. Employees assigned the negative duration time entry profile are only required to edit their timesheet if they work more hours than their regular schedule indicates, example, overtime or callback. If you worked fewer hours than your regular schedule indicates for a week, submit a time-off request to cover the missing hours. See the SuccessFactors training page, Time Off tile, for instructions on submitting time-off requests. If flexing time, a comment must be entered. The hours on the timesheet should not be adjusted. Exception entries must be entered directly following your last shift of each week. When an exception entry is saved, it flows to your supervisor for approval. For information regarding pay periods and calendar, see the Payroll and Tax Services website. Accessing and navigating the timesheet. Logging into SuccessFactors via the One Campus portal. Visit the One Campus portal at one.purdue.edu and select Employee Launchpad. Log in using Purdue Career Account ID and Boiler Key passcode. For assistance using or setting up Boiler Key, please contact ETAP at etap@purdue.edu or 765-494-4000. The timesheet is accessed by logging into SuccessFactors, scrolling down to the My Info section, and clicking on the timesheet tile. This brings you directly to your current timesheet. The current date is highlighted in bold red font. In the top right, the dates of that pay week are displayed. You are able to navigate to the next week or the previous week using the arrows on the right and left. Just beneath the timesheet week is the total recorded working hours for the selected week. The timesheet status is displayed beneath the total hours summary. The main workspace displays the day of the week and how many hours have been worked each day. Hours are displayed both numerically and graphically. The number of hours you are scheduled to work that day are displayed beneath the numerical entry field. For example, this schedule anticipates the employee to work 8 hours each day on Tuesday through Friday and 0 hours on Monday, Saturday and Sunday. For further details and to change items such as cost center or add callback time, expand the details box. Note that your cost center will default to your primary cost center if no selection is made. You may also add callback time by selecting the Add On-Call Time option. Despite the presence of the Add Absence button on this page, Purdue policy requires that you submit all absences, time off, and leaves, using the Time Off tile within your Employee Central homepage. In the bottom right are buttons for canceling and saving any changes made to the current timesheet. Enter exceptions. Exceptions are deviations from your regularly scheduled time. There are 3 primary scenarios where your working hours deviate from your scheduled hours. More time, where you worked a greater number of hours than you were scheduled for the week. Less time, where you worked fewer hours than you were scheduled for the week. Flex time, where you worked the same amount of hours as scheduled for the week, but your hours varied, or flexed, across 2 or more days. For example, instead of working 8 to 5 on Monday and Tuesday, you work 8 to 4 on Monday and 8 to 6 on Tuesday. We will start by exploring the process for adding more time. Let's say we worked 9 hours today, Wednesday the 17th, instead of our scheduled 8. To add hours, we will choose the target date and expand the details window. However, this will not give us 9 hours and will instead split our scheduled 8 hours into 2 lines. Notice that our 8 hours has now split into one line of 1 hour and one line of 7 hours, which is not the desired result. So we can cancel this modification. The correct way to enter additional hours is by entering the total amount of hours desired for the day on the second line. In this case, we worked 9 hours, so we will enter 9 into the additional line of working time. This will void the system-generated line of working time and replace it with the new amount of hours. Notice that the hours on the graph have adjusted to reflect the increase, and the timesheet status has changed to modified. Once we click Save, a notification will alert your supervisor that an exception has been made to your schedule, and the timesheet will need their approval before routing to payroll. Working less time. Entering less time. There is no way to record less time within your timesheet in the event that you have worked fewer hours than your scheduled working time. Instead, you must report this deviation in work time by requesting a leave via the time off tile of your Employee Central homepage. Now let's look at flex time. We would like to flex time between Tuesday and Wednesday, working 9 hours on Wednesday to make up for working only 7 hours on Tuesday. To record this, we need to provide a comment addressing the flex time. This comment can be added by clicking the Details link within allocated hours of either day flexed. Once the comment is added, click Done. Unlike modifications that involve entering additional time, comments regarding flex time does not prompt a timesheet approval request to your manager. The timesheet will auto-submit to payroll like all other unmodified timesheets. We will now discuss the time summary window. The time summary window displays total working time as well as a breakdown of different types of time, such as overtime, callback time, and holiday hours. It is important to note that the total within the summary window displays total work time for the week, such as regular time and overtime. This total will not account for non-work time such as leaves and holidays. For example, in our current timesheet, our summary window displays a total of 16 hours, but the breakdown of hours displays more than 16 hours for the week, including 8 hours of vacation and 8 hours of holiday. Monday, January 15th, is the recorded holiday. Holidays are identified with an asterisk above the date. You can hover over this asterisk to display which holiday occurs. In this case, Monday is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We have requested a vacation day for Friday, January 19th. Vacation hours are identified by a grayed out bar representing the amount of hours requested off. Our 16 hours of work time have been recorded on Tuesday and Wednesday. These are the hours currently reflected in the total and are listed as regular time in the breakdown. Thursday's 8 hours have yet to generate since today is still Wednesday and hours will not auto-generate until the day of. Because the total in SuccessFactors timesheet only reflects work time, the holiday and the vacation day are only displayed within the breakdown. These hours are still paid time and will be reflected in your paycheck, but they will not count towards the total in the timesheet because they do not reflect actual time worked. If we work our scheduled 8 hours on Thursday, we will see 24 total hours, but will be paid for a 40-hour work week with the additional 16 hours of holiday and vacation. If you are called back to work for any period of time, you will report this on the timesheet as callback time. Purdue policy places a callback premium of 2 hours for every instance you are called back to work. This 2-hour premium is noted within the duration section of on-call time, but the additional time worked is added to the allocated hours section. For example, if we are called back to work for a 1-hour event on Wednesday evening of our current work week, We would select Wednesday and select Add on-call time from the Details drop-down. Here we will add our 2-hour callback premium in alignment with Purdue policy. Then we would add our additional time worked to the allocated hours section. In this case, we were called back to work a 1-hour event, so we will add an hour of working time. Our 2 hours of callback premium pay are not included in the total. Like holiday and leaves, callback premium hours are not time worked. They will be reflected within the summary window and counted towards your paycheck, but they will not be part of the total within the timesheet. Cost overrides are used to charge specific hours to an account other than the employee's default cost center. Click to select the date to make the cost override adjustment. Scroll down to view details. Click in the duration text entry box on the empty line and enter the number of hours for the cost override. Click anywhere outside of the duration field to refresh the entries. Click the Cost Override drop-down menu and select the appropriate account details. Enter a comment if necessary. Click Save. Shift differentials and overtime. If your schedule includes shift differentials, these hours will automatically be recorded within the breakdown. Like callback premiums, these premium hours will not be reflected within the total. If you worked more hours than your full-time schedule requires, overtime hours will automatically be calculated. Overtime hours are reflected within the total because they reflect time worked. If you have made changes to your timesheet, click Save. Changes will be lost and your manager will not receive notification to approve exceptions if modifications are not saved. Amending a submitted timesheet. After your timesheet is submitted. Workflow. Recall that your scheduled hours system generate into the timesheet, and, as long as you have not made any modifications, the timesheet automatically routes to payroll at the end of the pay period. If you make modifications to a timesheet, a notification email will be sent to your supervisor indicating that your modified timesheet requires approval. Once this timesheet is approved, it will be routed to payroll for processing. Cases may arise where your supervisor does not approve your modified timesheet, in which case it may be routed back to you for editing and you will receive a notification and email. Period of admissibility. There may be situations where you realize that you have made a mistake on your timesheet and need to go back and amend it. You will be able to make amendments to your timesheet to correct this mistake as long as you are within your period of admissibility. This period is 2 pay periods, or 4 weeks, after the week of the submitted timesheet. For example, if you need to edit a timesheet for the week of January 8th to 14th, you will have until February 11th, 2 pay periods later, to make an amendment to that timesheet. Next we will see how to edit a previous timesheet that is still within the period of admissibility. To edit a timesheet that is within your period of admissibility, navigate to Target Pay Week and click Make Amendment. Make changes and resubmit. A dialog box confirming your submission appears and allows you to add a comment. When ready to finalize the amendment, click Submit. Notice that the status is now modified. A notification will now be sent to the supervisor informing him or her that a timesheet amendment requires approval. To edit a timesheet that is part of a pay period that is more than 2 pay periods in the past, communicate the corrections that are needed to your supervisor. Your supervisor will work with the business office or payroll center to make the corrections. This concludes the time entry for negative duration employees work instruction video. For more information, see the timekeeping and payroll section of the SuccessFactors training site at www.purdue.edu/timehelp.